Yo, what's up guys, hope you guys are doing good. So today we are going to see what if Naruto was son of Yami the Shinigami part 1. Hope you will enjoy this video, so before we start please like the video and subscribe to our channel and hit bell notification, it motivates me to upload more fanfics for my lovely audience. It had been 12 years since the day the Kyuubi attacked Konoha. In hell, Yami, ruler of the underworld and sister to Kami, sat upon her throne looking at a man who was guilty of rape and murder and deciding what torture he would have for all eternity. When the doors to the courtroom opened and to the shock of many, Kami walked in looking pissed. Yami looked at her sister and said, "Oh, please tell me you're not here to beg for this bastard's soul, sister. If you do, I swear any respect I have for you will be gone." Kami glanced at the man and said, "No, you can do with him as you please with my full approval. He's the lowest form of trash there is. I have other issues with you, sister." Yami, seeing the look on Kami's face, said, "Send him to the pits of emo to be raped for all eternity by gay fanboys after permanently dyeing his hair black and dyeing his nails purple to make him look more emo." The man screamed, "No, you can't do this, Kami, please, I beg of you, save me," as he was dragged away. After the man had been dragged away, Yami said, "So what is it, my dear sister, that you have come here for?" Kami said, "Don't play dumb with me. I want him." Yami blinked and looked confused and said, "Who? I have lots of men here." Kami said, "Do not try and act innocent. I have spent the last 12 years looking for him in both the mortal realm and heaven, and I have not found any signs of him after his birth. I even spoke with his parents who sealed Kyuubi in him. Now give me the boy." Yami blinked and said, "Kyuubi been sealed? I think you're mistaken, sister. Kyuubi here and has been ever since Shinigami brought her here nearly 13 years ago." Kami slammed her foot in the ground and the ground shook and said, "On October 10, 12 years ago, according to the mortal calendar, Madara Uchiha released the Kyuubi from the seal on Kushina Uzumaki Namikaze after she gave birth to her child Naruto. Madara then had the Kyuubi attack Konoha while he fought Minato Namikaze. Minato, after forcing Madara to flee, summoned Shinigami to seal the Kyuubi along with himself and his wife into their son Naruto, turning him into a Jinchuriki. Now something happened and Minato and Kushina, instead of being sealed in Naruto like they were supposed to, were sent to heaven and Naruto vanished. After searching everywhere else, I am forced to conclude that Naruto is here in hell. Now bring him to me." Yami frowned and said, "Listen, Kami, you're maybe my sister, but I don't like being accused of doing things I haven't done." Yami was silenced when a female voice said, "Mother," catching both hers and Kami's attention. Yami said, "What is it, Shinigami? My sister is pissing me off." A black-haired woman said, "I believe I can explain for both of you what is going on." Yami stopped and said, "What do you mean?" in a neutral voice. Shinigami said, "Kami is partially correct about the details that happened on October 10 up until the moment Kyuubi was to be sealed. I was summoned that day to seal Kyuubi into a baby boy, and I did arrive. I listened to what the mortal man asked to be done, and he and his wife were both saying their final wishes to their son, and since he still had plenty of chakra left from summoning me, I let them have that one last final moment. As they were finishing, two men arrived. They screamed to the parents who had used some kind of shield to keep other mortals out, and the oldest one convinced the man who summoned me to drop the shield so they could get to the infant boy when the sealing was done. As he dropped the shield, a pair of kunai shot out of the tree line behind the man and hit both him and his wife in the back of their heads, instantly killing them. It didn't stop there though. The kunai had exploding tags and they went off, blasting both of the men who arrived back and injuring the infant boy. The price of summoning me was a soul. That was the price dictated by both of you. The only two souls that were available were Kyuubi and the infant boy who was dying from his injuries. I saw the man who threw the kunai use his Sharingan eyes to start to control Kyuubi again, and I became pissed, so I decided to complete the sealing and save the boy at the same time. I sealed the Kyuubi inside him and then brought him here and saved his life by giving him my own flesh to replace the skin that was burned, my own blood to replace the blood he was losing from the injuries, and my own power to heal him." Yami said, "Then, you're saying?" Shinigami said, "Yes, Maelstrom, the boy I brought before you and told you was of my own flesh and blood, is the boy I saved all those years ago. The boy I claimed as a son and who you have seen as your grandson all these years. Yami turned to Kami and said, you said his name was Naruto. Naruto also means maelstrom. Why did you never tell me the truth, Shinigami? As she turned back to Shinigami. Shinigami said, he was 2 years old when I first brought him before you. In that time I came to love him as only a mother could. I may not have gave birth to him, but he is my son. I would do whatever it takes to protect him, even defy both of you. Kami said, I don't care if you see him as a son. He is not your son. He must be sent back to the human world along with Kyuubi, who is sealed inside of him. Shinigami said, Kyuubi is not sealed inside of him any longer, and I won't seal her inside of him either. I will not send my son away, and I don't care what you say, Aunt. He is my son. Kami turned to Yami and said, order your daughter to do it, in a commanding voice. Yami turned and said, oh. And why should I, in a sarcastic voice. Kami said, the boy is too important to the future of the world. He has a destiny he must fulfill. Yami said, what's so special about this boy that you need him? Kami frowned and said, the boy is the child of prophecy. Yami blinked and said, which prophecy? We start one of these every couple hundred years, so remind me which one we are talking about. Kami sighed and said, the one we gave the toads, the boy who would either save the world or destroy it. You remember now. Yami thought a moment and said, yes, I remember what you speak about. But why him? Mortals are a dime a dozen, why can't you use someone else besides him? Shinigami didn't break any rules really, bend them yes, break them no, so why can't you leave the boy here and chose someone else? Kami said, are you mad? The fate of the world rests on this one prophecy. This is the one where the fate of the Biju will be decided with the rebirth of the Jubi or the end of the Biju in the mortal world. The boy is the last of the Senju line and Madara Uchiha is the mastermind against him. He will either save the world from Madara or die, and Madara will destroy the world. I can't replace him. It's taken me nearly 500 years to get to this point. You have to send him back to the mortal world. Shinigami said, no, I won't let you take my son. Kami glared at Shinigami and said, he is not your son. Now seal Kyuubi and send him back or else. Yami said, or else what, Kami? In a dangerous tone. Kami, seeing Yami getting ready to fight, took a deep breath and said, remember the reason the Biju are on the mortal world first, Yami. I let you put them there as a temptation of power for the mortals so you can collect more evil souls. They would stay there until my prophecy was fulfilled, and the time of the prophecy is here, but I can't fulfill the prophecy without the boy. You have to give him to me, or surrender all the souls you have taken since the Biju arrived in the mortal world. Yami frowned and Shinigami said, I want to it, mother. Kami growled out, that's it. I've had enough of you, child. As her hands were covered in white light and she shot them at Shinigami, who tried to dodge, but the light hit her and she vanished. Yami turned and saw Shinigami vanish and screamed, what did you do? Kami said, a deal's a deal, Yami. The boy and the kitsune, or the souls you gained and your daughter. You can't have both. You have to surrender one or the other to me. Yami frowned and said, I send Kyuubi and Naruto back to the mortal world, and you give me back my daughter and leave the souls I gained alone. Kami said, providing your daughter does not try and bring him back. I will have one of my angels watch him to ensure she doesn't. Yami pursed her lips and said, and when he dies? Kami said, he goes wherever his soul should go. Yami smirked slightly while facing away from Kami and said, deal. Kami said, no tricks, Yami. The boy is too important to my plans. Yami turned and said, the boy will make his own decisions in his life. Once he leaves here, he is free to do as he pleases. I have no control over him, and my daughter will see it like she is cutting the apron strings to allow him to grow up. Deal. Kami said, deal. Until he is in the mortal world, your daughter will be sealed away in limbo. Yami frowned and said, he will be back in the mortal world in 3 days. Kami said, why not today? Yami said, because he is my grandson and I want him to have the chance to say goodbye to his friends. Why is it me that shows compassion, Kami? Kami glared at her sister and said, I have spent a great many years to get to this point. When he fulfills his destiny, he will bring millions of souls to me. If it causes pain for him, it matters not, because the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Yami said, Fine, get out of here so I can send for him and tell him so he may prepare to leave, as well as Kyubi. I don't want to hear about your victory. Kami smirked and said, You're right, it will be my victory, sister. As she turned and marched away. Yami thought, You forgot the most important rule, sister, free will. You think he goes back, he will do as you want him to do. You don't know my grandson, he doesn't even do what I want him to do. And said, Send for Kyubi and Maelstrom. A little later, a 5'10" blonde hair, blue eye, whiskered face Naruto walked in with a red hair girl with 9 tails waving behind her and fox ears on her head, and Naruto said, Hey grandma, what's up? Yami pursed her lips and said, Tell me, Maelstrom, has your mom ever told you how you came to be? Naruto frowned and glanced at Kyubi and said, What exactly do you mean came to be? Yami said, My sister Kami came here earlier today. She was looking for a Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Kyubi quickly said, Yami-sama, I can explain. As she quickly got on her knees and bowed. Yami said, Do you know, Maelstrom, why Kyubi is acting like this? Naruto looked down and said, Yes, she's afraid that you will destroy me for not being born of my mother. Yami said, So you know the truth. Naruto looked up and said, I have a photographic memory. Mother originally gave it to me so I would remember the words my birth parents left me with, thinking they were the last words I would hear from them. I remember those words as well as the pain both physically and emotionally I felt from their death and the injuries I sustained from the explosion. I also remember everything mother sacrificed to save me, as she cut off her own flesh to heal me and gave me her own blood. If you wish to punish anyone for lying to you over the years, let it be me. Please do not punish mother or Kyubi. As to the shock of everyone, he bowed to Yami, something that he never done before. Yami, who was shocked, closed her eyes and said, Why do you bow, my grandson, when never before have you bowed to anyone? Naruto said, Because I never once admitted that I was wrong before and had no reason to show such a sign of weakness. In this case I am. Yami smiled and said, Wise answer, grandson. Now arise and know from this day forward that you are my grandson in every way, no matter what anyone says. Naruto looked up in shock and Yami smiled sadly and said, Now we have a problem. Did your mother ever tell you exactly how souls are collected? Naruto said, Yes, when she was training me to use my powers, she took me a few times with her and explained it. For you, Shinigami collects the souls of the truly wicked who cared only for their self and their own ambitions, and for Kami, her daughter Gabriel, collects the souls of the truly pure and noble who sacrifice everything for others. Most souls fall in the category of being in the middle, and when they die they are sent to limbo, where they wait to be reborn in the human world until they fall into one of the two categories to be sent to eternal salvation or damnation. Yami said, Very good. Did she tell you anything else, like how a truly noble or evil person could be reborn? Naruto said, Yes, she told me that every minute after a mortal dies that a soul is not collected, one sin, either good or evil, is erased from their record, and if it gets to the point where all their sins or noble deeds are erased, they are automatically sent to limbo to be reborn and can't be touched. Yami said, Correct. Now earlier when Kami showed up demanding you, Shinigami confessed to me the truth about you, and Kami demanded that Kyubi be resealed in you and both of you sent back to the mortal realm because Kami claims you are very important to her future plans. Your mother refused and claimed she would defy both Kami and me to protect you because you were her son. My sister became pissed eventually and attacked your mother and sent her away to limbo and told me that I had two choices because of another deal we had long before you were even born. One was to send both of you back, or she would keep Shinigami in limbo and force me to release every soul that I collected since the original deal was made. She told me that she would release your mother once you both were in the mortal realm. Naruto clenched his fist and said, Then send us there. Yami smiled and said, I plan to. But not the way my sister wants. Naruto, you are very strong and I am proud of you. It was almost time for your mother to allow you to start growing up on your own by cutting the apron strings, so to speak. You will return to the mortal realm and Kyuubi will go with you. But not sealed inside you, as she continued to tell what she wanted to do. 1 month later, Ibiki Morino spat out some blood as Aoi Rokusho drew his fist back and punched Ibiki in the stomach where he was tied up. Aoi said, "Now tell me the real names of the Anbu." Before Ibiki could answer, a knock was heard on the door to the cabin, making both blink. Aoi said, "Who's there?" as he pulled out a kunai. A female voice said pleadingly, "Please sir, I need your help, my brother is burning up with a fever and I'm afraid he'll die, please sir, if I don't have any money, but if you will help me I'll let you have me to do as you please. But please save my brother." Aoi blinked and Ibiki screamed, "Get out of here girl, he will kill you." Aoi slapped Ibiki while cursing and ran to the door and yanked it open with his kunai ready. The next moment Ibiki saw Aoi body flip as a figure appeared with his legs wrapped around Aoi head and flipped him around to where Aoi was on his back before the figure drew back a fist and shoved it down on Aoi throat, crushing his windpipe, and Ibiki heard the figure say something but couldn't make it out as it was but a whisper before the figure looked at Ibiki, who for the first time saw the look of the person and saw what looked like a teenage boy with blonde hair, blue eyes, and 3 whisker marks on his face. The teen stood up and said, "Are you alright?" Ibiki said, "Who are you?" The teen grabbed the kunai and walked toward Ibiki, who tensed until the teen cut the bindings holding Ibiki in place and said, "The name's Naruto, are you alright?" Ibiki relaxed a little as he stood up and rubbed his wrist and said, "Thanks for helping, but why are you here and why did you save me?" Naruto said, "Me, I was passing by when my companion smelled blood and we came to investigate and saw you being tortured, sloppy as hell also. But anyways we decided it would be a good idea to help." Ibiki tensed a moment and said, "Companion, what do you mean?" Naruto said, "Oh yeah, Kitsu." A fox came around the corner around the dead body of Aoi and Naruto said, "This is Kitsu, my companion." Ibiki blinked and said, "I see. Well, my name is Ibiki Morino. I'm from Konoha. Where are you from if you don't mind me asking? Where's your parents?" Naruto frowned and said, "My birth parents were murdered the day I was born. Grandma told me that Kami took mom away." Ibiki said, "Oh, well, what about your grandma?" Naruto said, "She's in hell." As he shrugged his shoulders. Ibiki blinked and thought, what the hell? What could his grandmother had done to cause him to act like he doesn't care when he said she's in hell? And asked, "Wait, where's the girl I heard earlier?" Kitsu said, "That was me." Ibiki eyes widened and said, "You can talk." As he looked at the fox. Kitsu said, "I am bound to Naruto-kun until the day he dies. It's part of the contract he has." Ibiki said, "Contract? Are you a summon?" Kitsu said, "Yes." Ibiki said, "I see. I didn't know there was a Kitsune contract." Kitsu said, "There's not." Ibiki asked, "Then if it's not the Kitsune contract, what is it?" Naruto said, "I don't trust you enough to tell you, besides, you owe us for saving your life." Ibiki frowned and said, "What do you want?" Naruto said, "Directions." Ibiki blinked and said, "What? Where are you trying to go?" Naruto said, "Closest town or village. We are not from around here." Ibiki said, "Well, where are you from?" Naruto said, "A distant land across the sea. The land is filled with bandits, thieves, murders, and rapists right now as someone recently took the daughter of the leader of that land hostage and forced the leader of the land to release the prisoners who were being held in a prison my grandmother was in charge of. My grandmother was forced to send me to these lands to start a new life away from my home. Someday I hope to return and help bring order, but I have to get stronger before I can. I don't want to tell you the name of my home in case you or someone else who might be listening knows about it and tries to go there causing more trouble." Ibiki said, "I see. That wasn't your first kill, was it?" Naruto snorts and said, "No. Running the prison was sort of a family business. My grandmother was the warden, my mom brought in new prisoners and I was one of the guards. I've had my fair share of idiots thinking since I was so young I would be weak. I usually had to make an example of one every 100 or so. Ibiki said, ever thought about being a ninja? Naruto glanced at him and said, ninja you say? I don't know. I've only been in these lands about a month now and only barely understand your language. How about talking it over after a good night's sleep and a beer? Ibiki laughed and said, I think I'm starting to like you kid. Naruto stepped back holding up his hands and said, whoa Bubba. I'm straight and easy. I don't play that. Ibiki laughed only harder as he walked over and knelt beside the body of Aoi and began to search his pockets before he frowned and said, you didn't see anything fly away or take anything from his body did you? Naruto looked at Ibiki and said, no. Why, is there something missing? Ibiki said, the reason I was captured is this guy used my brother to steal an item from our village. When I came after my brother I was blindsided by this guy. I was looking for the item but I can't find it and I was sure that he had it. Naruto looked at Kitsu and asked, did you see anything Kitsu? Kitsu said, no but I do smell two other scents around here. One is similar to Ibiki and the other is. I really don't know what that smell is. It's heading northeast though. Ibiki said, that's heading back to Konoha. Alright, I owe you a place to stay and a meal. I'll even put in a good word with my village leader if you wouldn't mind helping me track that other scent. The item that was stolen was a village treasure and is very important. Naruto shrugged and said, sure. Kitsu, you mind? Kitsu said, sure. As she began to sniff before running northeast. Ibiki quickly sealed the body of Aoi in a scroll and began to follow Naruto who followed Kitsu. 3 hours later the group saw the gates of Konoha appear and Ibiki said, are you still following the scent? Kitsu said, yes. Ibiki saw the guards at the gate and he said, summon a team of Anbu and have them link up with me. Both the boy and the fox are with me also. As they ran through the gates. 10 minutes later the group came to the Hokage tower and Kitsu sniffed the air and said, the scent is coming from above us out that open window. Ibiki frowned and said, alright, both of you hold on. As he placed his hand on both and shushin away. The three appeared in the Hokage office and the Sandaime Hokage sat there in his chair with the Raijin on his desk and across from him was a brown-haired teenage girl and the Sandaime said, Ibiki, I take it your mission met some complications. As he looked at Naruto for a few moments and thought, he looks like Minato. Kitsu looked at the girl and yipped and Naruto said, I see, the girl is the source of the scent you were tracking. Ibiki said, yes, the item I was telling you about is on the Hokage desk. Hokage-sama, allow me to introduce you to Naruto and Kitsu. They saved my life when I was ambushed by Aoi who proceeded to torture me before they showed up. The Sandaime froze a moment and said, do you have a last name Naruto? Naruto said, no, my great aunt disgraced our family many years ago and had us lose our family name. A crack of knuckles popping was heard from the girl who had clenched her fist and the Sandaime said, is there a problem The girl said, no sir, I'm just nervous since these are the ones I was telling you about I saw over the dead body I told you about. The Sandaime said, I see. Well why don't you introduce yourself and then you can as well Naruto as both of you have done a great service today in recovering a stolen village treasure and saving the lives of one of my ninja. I said, my name is Tenshi. I am originally from a small village in the valley below a temple devoted to Kami and I was asked by my village leader to head to Konoha and learn to become a medic so that I could someday return to my village to be a healer. It was for this reason when I saw the dead Konoha ninja and the legendary Raijin I read about in one of the archives of my village library that I grabbed it and came as quickly as possible to Konoha and asked if I could use it in order to become a kunoichi to Konoha so that I may learn to become a medic nin. The Sandaime said, I see. And you Naruto? Naruto said, not much I can really say. Name's Naruto. My family's been in the business of running a prison for years until the daughter to the ruler of my land was kidnapped and used as a hostage where the ruler was forced to release some prisoners who caused all kinds of problems. My mother was taken from me by Kami so me and the little angel here will probably won't get along and my grandmother's in hell now while my homeland is filled with murders, rapists, thieves, and other demons like them. Grandma sent me here for a new life before she went to hell, and I was just passing through when my companion and I came across the sight of Ibiki being tortured and decided to help him since we could tell by the way the other guy was talking and acting he was the criminal. After that, when Ibiki couldn't find that little thing you have on your desk, my companion picked up the girl's scent and Ibiki hired us to follow the scent, and here we are. So, about the bed and beer. As he looked at Ibiki. Ibiki glanced nervously at the Sandame, who kept glancing at Naruto and I, and said, "So you both want to become ninja of Konoha?" I said, "Yes, Hokage-sama." Naruto shrugged and said, "Don't know. I've only been in these lands for a month. Don't really know what you call ninja. I've never been one to take orders either. I usually give them." The Sandame frowned and Ibiki said, "Sir, while I admit that Naruto is a little rough around the edges, you must consider his past with having to deal with prisoners who would test him to see if they could get away with bossing him around, so he had to be strong and his skills are impressive. He was able to set a trap that distracted Aoi and made it where he could and did kill Aoi in less than 2 seconds, sir. He's also got a summoning contract and his companion is able to track as good as an Inuzuka." The Sandame said, "What contract do you have?" Naruto said, "Hounds." And thought, "The hounds of hell." Ibiki blinked and thought, "So that's why. I forgot kitsunes are a branch of dogs." I frowned and thought, Kami is not going to be happy. He was supposed to get the toads. The Sandame sat back and said, "I see, what are you ages and when are you birthdays?" Naruto said, "October 10th, almost 13 years ago." I said, "Same." Causing everyone in the room to blink, and the Sandame said, "Really, that is very uncommon. Naruto, would you mind doing me a favor to prove something?" Naruto said, "No, I have nothing to prove. You can ask me what you want and I might do it, but if I don't want to, I won't." The Sandame said, "Are you testing my patience?" As he unleashed some ki. Naruto snorts unaffected by the ki and said, "This is how it's done." As he unleashed his ki, causing I and Ibiki both to drop to the ground gasping for breath, while the Sandame began to sweat while frozen in place before Naruto said, "And I am not testing you. I just desire my own privacy and I never agree to anything unless I know in advance what it is I am agreeing to. I was just passing through when I saved his life, and even if the little angel here brought in that little thing there, it would have been lost without me stopping Aoi in the first place. Only reason I'm here is Ibiki promised me a place to stay the night and a beer to pay me back for saving his life and helping track the scent. That's all I'm after for now, so if you will excuse me, I'll let you continue your meeting while I wait for what is owed me." As he stopped releasing his ki and began to walk away, when there was 4 shushin in the room as the Anbu who appeared began to draw their weapons. Naruto turned, sending a palm thrust into one Anbu chest, causing the Anbu to fly out the window backwards that shattered the window. Naruto turned, delivering an uppercut to another's chin, breaking the mask and sending the Anbu up off the ground enough to hit the roof, knocking him out. Naruto slammed both his elbows into the gut of each of the 2 remaining Anbu before raising his arms from where they were still in the Anbu's stomach and slammed his fist into the mask of the Anbu, who both flew back against the bookshelf. All this happened in less than 3 seconds, and Naruto turned with a kunai under the Sandame's neck, who had came around the desk, and a sword Naruto took from the Anbu was under the chin of Ibiki as both men froze in place. Naruto said, "I don't like being attacked and I don't bow to anyone. We passed a dango stand on the way here. I'll buy me and Kitsu some dango and sake there and send the bill to you, Ibiki, as payment for what you owe me. After that I'm leaving." As he fell into his shadow, dropping the sword on the ground. Silence went through the room and I said, "Whoa," breaking the tension in the room. Ibiki quickly recovered and said, "Hokage-sama, forgive me for bringing them in here. I had no idea he would." I said, "Blood." Interrupting Ibiki. The Sandame said, "What?" I pointed to the ground near the Sandame and said, "When Naruto hit the Anbu mask, it cut his hand. That was what you were after, were you not?" The Sandame blinked and asked, "What makes you say that?" I looked behind her at the pictures on the wall and said, "I question it myself since I saw it. Could he be the Yondaime son from an accidental birth or something?" The Sandame frowned and said, "You're very observant." I said, "I try, sir. I just wish to impress you enough to be allowed to become a ninja so I could learn to be a medic. My village needs one as the one we had died in a mudslide back in the spring. The Sandame said, very well, I want what you saw and heard today to be a secret that you are not allowed to speak with anyone about, including the possibility of who Naruto might be. Do so and I will allow you to enter the academy and will test you to see where you will be placed. Please wait outside my office and I will begin your paperwork shortly. I said, thank you Hokage-sama, you're very kind and noble. May Kami bless you. As she turned and left the office. Once she was gone, the Sandame reached down and using a kunai he removed from his robes picked up the drying blood and walked over to the picture of Minato and pulled on it, opening a hidden compartment where a seal was, and the Sandame placed some blood on the seal which glowed and a scroll popped out, shocking Ibiki and the Sandame. The Sandame closed his eyes and said, Ibiki, tell me everything about Naruto. Across town at the dango stand, Naruto said, thanks lady. Ibiki still in the Hokage office. Anko said, no problem Gaki. I saw you and him walking through town together, so I figured that what you said was true. But aren't you too young to drink? Naruto said, old enough to kill, old enough to drink, old enough to gamble and fuck. So got a name. Anko smirked and said, amen, someone with some brains. The name's Anko, so what's your plans after this? Naruto looked around and motioned Anko with his head, and Anko moved closer and he motioned again and Anko leaned in closer and Naruto went and whispered in her ear, that depends on how many orgasm you can handle before passing out and how soundproof your bedroom is. Anko smirked and said, sorry kid, you not my type. As she leaned back. Naruto said, I bet I can make you change your mind. With a smirk. Anko said, doubt it kid. Naruto said, once bitten twice shy huh. Causing Anko to scowl, and Naruto said, go look in the restroom mirror. You will be surprised by what you see. Anko narrowed her eyes and said, what? Naruto said, I already fulfilled your wildest dream, I bet before the end of the day I can fulfill a couple more. Anko eyes widened and she paled slightly and said, that's not funny Gaki. Naruto said, does it look like I'm joking? Go get your cute ass up so I can see it again and go see that I'm telling the truth. Anko bit her lip and jumped up and quickly moved to the restroom. As she entered the restroom, the door hadn't even closed when she moved her coat to the side and her eyes went wide as she saw the curse seal was gone from her neck and tears began to appear in her eyes when a hand wiped the tears off her left cheek, and Anko jumped back and saw Naruto there, who said, so, ever been into voyeurism? Anko said, how? Naruto said, sorry, that's my secret. Before he moved to fast for Anko to see and appeared behind her, kissing her on the neck while having one hand rubbing her stomach and another rubbing her ass, causing Anko to shiver. Anko felt her entire body getting turned on by this, and Naruto whispered, you're free now, indulge in your own pleasure for once, forget the rules of Norman Descenses. Indulge in your own guilty pleasure and enjoy life, you're a kunoichi, live life while you are alive. As her body orgasmed from the treatment, Naruto hands as well as his voice whispering huskily in her ear. Anko turned and began to passionately kiss Naruto, who picked her legs up, one on each side, and set her on the counter, ripping her panties off her and dropping his pants enough to free himself, and he began to fuck her hard while they kissed. Several orgasms later, Anko was about ready to pass out when the world shimmered around her and Anko found herself standing in front of the bathroom mirror with Kurenai standing beside her and asked, did you hear me Anko? Are you alright? Anko blinked and looked around and saw the curse seal was still gone and asked, where's Naruto? What just happened? As she looked back and forward and reached her hand up under her skirt and found her panties right where they should be and in one piece. Kurenai said, Anko, what's gotten into you? Who's Naruto? Seeing Anko freaking out. Anko ignored Kurenai and quickly left and went to the table where Naruto had been, and she found a note that said, enjoy your guilty pleasures, life's too short not to enjoy living it. P.S. Don't thank Kami, she's a fucking bitch. Signed. A guilty pleasure. Anko burst out laughing and whipped tears away from her eyes, and Kurenai, who had followed Anko out, read the note and said, are you alright Anko? Anko said, alright, you ask am I alright? I am fucking fantastic. I'm free Nia, look. As she moved her coat enough to show her neck clear of the curse seal shocking Kurenai. Kurenai asked, how? Anko said, a new friend, come on, this calls for a celebration. As she grabbed Kurenai's arm and began to drag her away. Naruto was nearly to the gates when I came running up and screamed, Naruto, as she neared him. Naruto stopped and turned scowling as he saw her stop a few feet away and she said, where are you going? You can't leave. Naruto blinked and said, oh, and why is that? I don't live here, this village has nothing I want so why should I stay here? I said, because Kami wants you here. Naruto snorts and began to walk away toward the gates and I said, hey, didn't you hear me? Naruto turned and said, I heard you all right. But I don't take orders from Kami or you angel. Ever hear of something called free will? If not, then you need to get your head out of the clouds sometimes. As he turned and started to walk away again when an Anbu team appeared. One in a dog mask said, excuse me, are you Naruto? Naruto said, no, I'm Santa Claus, can't you tell my belly, red outfit, and snow white beard? This is Rudolph and his red nose. As he pointed to Kitsu who was on his shoulder. A Anbu in a dragon mask said, answer the question or you will be detained. Naruto said, that would be the third worst mistake you could make. Inu said, look, we don't want any trouble. Since you match the description of Naruto I will inform you that the Sandaime would like to have a few words with you. Naruto said, that's nice. I'll be sure to get with him first thing the next time I'm in town. As he began to walk toward the gate. Inu said, I'm afraid that you can't leave. Naruto scraped his thumb against his belt where attack was and in less than a second flashed through some hand signs and said, Kuchio's no jutsu, as he slammed his hands on the ground. A huge puff of smoke covered the area and a set of howl that sent shivers down the spines of everyone was heard and when the smoke cleared there was a 200-foot-tall three-headed gray and black dog standing there with Naruto on the middle head and Naruto looked down at the people of Konoha and said, say hello to my little friend, Cerberus. Boys say hello to Konoha. All three dogs howled scaring the people. Several ninja arrived including the Sandaime who said, what's going on here? Naruto said, you tell me. I was getting ready to leave the village when a second group of Anbu tried to stop me after I kicked the first squad's ass in your office earlier. I'm not a citizen of Konoha, I'm not a ninja of Konoha. Hell, I'm not even a citizen of this country. I saved the life of one of your ninja, killed a traitor to your village and helped in the recovery of the region that had been stolen and now after I try to leave your men tell me I can't leave. Give me one reason I shouldn't have my pups here piss all over your village. It's been about a year since I let these guys out to use the restroom and they really need to go, isn't that right boys? As he patted the ear of the dog head he was standing on. The three dogs yipped scaring several of the people who were nearby. The Sandaime frowned and said, I have information that I think would interest you, it's about your birth parents Naruto. Naruto snorts and said, really? And I would care about them why? I've lived the last 12 years without them in the care of a woman who loved me more than either of them did. The Sandaime said, that's not true, your parents loved you. He was stopped by a rumbling sound and the earth began to break apart as a 10-feet-long wooden club could be seen coming out of the ground along with a gray hand before an arm and then a gray creature that stood over 15 foot tall came out of the ground and Naruto said, this is a cave troll. One of my slaves. You try and lie to me again coward and I'll have an army of them raise from the ground and destroy your village. Naruto saw as everyone was tensed and Naruto said, now I know all about what you're going to say coward and I call you that because that is exactly what you and that gray-haired Anbu standing there in the dog mask are. After all, when the Yondaime and his wife were murdered in front of you by the man who caused the Kyuubi attack you both instead of fighting the man turned and ran like the cowards you are. Surprise, I remember that day, it's a gift I got from Shinigami, a photographic memory. I remember as both the Yondaime and his wife each had a kunai with an exploding tag wrapped around them thrown into the back of their skulls killing them when they were about to stop Kyuubi attack. I remember you both arriving before that and having them drop the protective shield that kept anyone from stopping them from defeating Kyuubi. I remember you both turning tail and running in fear of the man in the spiral mask. I also remember that day because that was the day I was born and the day I was set on fire by the exploding tags that killed my birth parents, and how you both abandoned me injured and screaming in pain at the feet of Kyuubi and the man with spiral mask. The Sandame frowned and said, "Then your coming here was a setup." Laughter could be heard coming from Naruto, who said, "Please, like I give a damn about this pathetic villager you. You want to know the reason I came here? Because Kami is a fucking bitch. For the past 12 years I have been raised by Shinigami herself, who saved me the day that you abandoned me. I am the accepted and honored grandson of Yami, guardian of hell, and godson of the Kyuubi. Isn't that right, grandmother?" As he looked at the fox on his shoulder and was covered in smoke, and then a sight that scared the shit out of nearly everyone appeared, with the Kyuubi in all her glory standing beside Cerberus before she jumped into the air and turned into her human hybrid form and shushing beside Naruto. Naruto said, "Now you want to know why I am here. You see that girl there? Well, she's not human. She's in fact an angel sent here to make sure my mother doesn't come and bring me home, because Kami a fucking bitch who kidnapped my mother, Shinigami, and forced Grandma Yami to send me to Earth to clean up your fucking mess, coward. Why don't you tell the people of this village how you have lied to them all these years along with every other Hokage? That Kyuubi was in fact sealed in the wife of the Shadaime Hokage, who before her death sealed the Kyuubi into Kushina Uzumaki, who became the wife of the Yondaime Hokage. That the reason Kyuubi attack was because Madara Uchiha is still alive, and that he was the man who broke the seal holding Kyuubi prisoner and used his Sharingan on her to force her to attack your village. But you don't, coward. Instead you run away and keep secrets. But that is what you're good at. After all, it was you, Kaharu, Homaru, and Danzo who ordered the Uchiha massacre that Itachi carried out. With the help of Madara Uchiha, that Danzo stole the Sharingan eyes from the bodies of the Uchiha clan for power. That he had your student Orochimaru rob the graves of the Shadaime Hokage so he could experiment on your people to recreate the Mokudan bloodline. But your lies don't end there. The curse seal that Anko has been hurt by all these years, that was secretly being funded by you. Why don't you tell how you didn't force Orochimaru to flee until he actually created a working Mokudan test subject? Isn't that right, dragon? Naruto smirked as he saw the shocked looks on everyone's faces, and Naruto said, "Bet you're wondering how I know all this. Damned men who are going to be punished for all eternity are willing to spill their guts for a chance at a lesser sentence. You would be surprised how many ninja get sent to hell. Guess that's what you get for being nothing but murders, rapist, assassin, and thieves. What's wrong, Angel? Pissed that I'm not playing Kami game. I don't care. I'm not her pawn and she can go fuck herself. The deal was for me to return to this world and deal with the Biju and Madara. She didn't specify how I did it. She also said I had to bring Kyuubi with me, never said I couldn't bring anyone else." I glared at Naruto and Naruto said, "Now I never like to go anywhere without getting my friends and family gifts." Danzo. Yes, you soul is evil as hell and tainted from all the things you have done. I think it will make a great gift for Grandma Yami. Your soul is mine. As his eyes changed from blue to black and everyone saw as a ghostly figure that looked like Danzo started to scream coming out of Danzo's body as it headed toward Naruto and into his eye before he was silenced. At this everyone was freaking out, with many running away. Naruto said, "Cerberus, you need a new chew toy, those gates look like they will do." The three heads of the dogs grabbed the gates and began to shake, tearing them from the walls. Naruto said, "And this will make a nice gift for mom to tempt mortals with," as he activated the Raijin, shocking those who were watching before he pocketed it. Kyuubi said, "What about me, Naruto-kun?" Naruto said, "Troll, goblins, destroy the faces on the mountain, since all of them have committed crimes against Kyuubi and should not be honored." Nearly 100 small green arms shot out of the dirt before everyone saw goblins appearing, and they all ran toward the mountain. Many ninja began to try and attack the goblin and the troll, as well as Cerberus, who turned and began to run away with the gates in all three of its mouths, chewing on them. I frowned and looked around before she hunched forward and angel wings shot out of her back, shocking many who doubted Naruto's words before she took flight into the air and began to chase after Naruto. It was several hours later at dusk when I landed in a clearing and began to look around after having ranted to herself over what Naruto had pulled on her flight after them. She soon found Naruto and Kistu sitting by a fire with several fish over it, and Naruto motioned to the fire and said, "Would you like a fish, angel, or is it beneath you to eat mortal food?" I bit her lip and took several moments to calm down and finally asked, "Why did you do that back in Konoha? Do you have any idea what you have just done?" Naruto said, "I know exactly what I have done," as he smirked. I bit her lip seeing that smirk and said, "You have ruined." Naruto interrupted her laughing, causing I to scowl and asked, "What are you laughing at?" Naruto said, "What is Kitsu here?" as he motioned to Kitsu. I looked confused and said, "A demon." Kitsu said, "A kitsune." I said, "Yeah, what does that have to do with anything?" Naruto said, "Do you really think having a kitsune for a godmother would come without a few benefits, like learning kitsune illusions?" I blinked and became more confused, causing Naruto to cover his mouth to keep from laughing, and I said, "What is so funny? You have ruined Kami." Naruto burst out laughing, and Kitsu, who also was snickering, saw I get a tick mark above her eye, and Kitsu said, "Everything that happened after the moment the dog-faced Anbu asked her you Naruto was an illusion he placed on you. While you were trapped in the illusion, Naruto and I were taken to see the Hokage, and you revealed to the village your wings and flew away chasing a Kajbunshin who was powering the illusion to make you think that we were fleeing the village." Gotcha. Saya in Konoha. As both disappeared in a puff of smoke and the fire disappeared along with the fish. A moment later I screamed in frustration before taking flight and heading back to Konoha as night set in. When I made it back to Konoha, it was already after midnight, having to fly slower and change directions to make it to Konoha. As she was walking through the village, a team of Anbu appeared around her and she froze, and one in a Neko mask said, "Surrender and come with us." I sighed as she was led away. Soon she came to the Hokage residence, where the Sandaime Hokage, who was in a robe with a scowl on his face, said, "Why did you leave the village and how did you fly away?" I took a breath and said, "I have wings and can fly because it's my bloodline. My last name should explain it. I was so excited about having your approval to join the academy so I could become a medic. I flew all the way back to my village and informed them. I know it was pretty stupid, but so many people back home are counting on me, and I just wanted to let them know it was going to be okay." As she looked down and thought, "Kami, forgive me for lying. It's for the greater good." The Sandaime said, "I see. I am giving you only one warning, as I can understand what you must have felt. But this is your only warning. This is not your home village. This is Konoha and there are rules that must be followed. If you want to return to your home village, you will have to get clearance from me. Does your bloodline have any other effects besides giving you wings and the ability to fly?" I said, "Not that I am aware of, sir. Since most of my family have devoted our life to Kami, we are not much for fighting or using our bloodline for more than quickly going from one place to another." The Sandaime said, "Very well, remember, this is your only warning. If you disobey me, I will have to have your memory sealed away of everything that happened to Konoha and banish you from here. Do you understand?" I said, "Yes, Hokage-sama, and thank you." The Sandaime said, "Then go to your apartment I gave you and get some sleep. You have to be at the academy at 7:30 a.m. tomorrow." I said, "Yes, Hokage-sama. What happened to Naruto?" The Sandaime said, "You can ask him yourself tomorrow when you see him at the academy. Now if you will excuse me, it is late and I want some sleep. Anbu, return to your duties." As he turned and went back in his home. I saw the Anbu had disappeared and she sighed and began to leave as well. An hour later she walked up a set of stairs and thought, "Kami, please no more. My first day in the mortal world and it was a nightmare. I didn't even eat yesterday." She soon came to apartment 316 of the Chestnut Apartments while feeling sleep nibbling at her senses, and she opened the door and stepped in and thought, "Oh, thank you, Kami, the apartment is furnished. Must find bed." As she quickly found the bedroom and as she saw the bed, she saw her vision getting blurry and she dragged herself to the bed and fell into it, passing out before she hit the bed. The next morning when I had the rays of sunlight come in through the window she groaned and moved into her pillow and said, warm. A male voice said, thanks, you smell nice also. A few moments later her mind froze and she jumped up and screamed, ah, as she pulled the cover around her and saw Naruto in the bed in only a pair of black silk boxers and she screamed, what are you doing in my bed you filthy heathen? Naruto rubbed his ears and said, damn, you sure have a set of lunges. Now the question you should be asking is what are you doing in my bed in my apartment and the only reason I am dirty is because of you and your dirty skanky ass cloths. You and that bony ass of yours fell on me at 3 a.m. this morning making me dirty. I who was blushing from the dirty cloth part said, this is my apartment. Apartment 316. Naruto said, wrong, go look at the number on the door, this is apartment 319 you airhead and give me back my cover. I furnished this place and I am not letting you steal what is mine. As he yanked the cover from her. I frowned and Kitsu's voice said, damn Kit, don't tell me you fucked the angel. I didn't know you were that desperate for a bed partner. Naruto looked at Kitsu who was in her human form with red hair and red eye who was at the doorway and said, I'm not, this bony ass bitch came in here at 3 in the morning and fell on top of me. If she wouldn't have been passed out when she landed I would have slit her throat since I had already a kunai under her neck for breaking in last night, causing I to pale. I said, but this is apartment 316. The apartment the Sandame gave me. Kitsu said, told you we should have went to the landlord over that loose nail on the number 9 yesterday. You said nobody would be stupid enough to think this was 316 since 317 was beside us along with 321 and across from us is 318. Guess you were wrong Kit. Naruto said, yeah, I guess they don't teach common sense in heaven. Well, you're awake and I need breakfast and a shower so get out angel. As he glared at I said, but, Naruto screamed, now, scaring I who quickly ran out the bedroom and out the door. After she was gone Kitsu said, Kit, I know you're pissed and I understand why you are treating her like that but don't become something you're not. Yami told you all she wanted us to do was come together with me acting as your servant and friend and you live the life like you want and be yourself. Don't let her or Kami decide what you do. It's your free will. I respect that and I respect why you are treating the angel like you are. But do it your way. Not as a demon. You are better than our kind. As she turned and left. Naruto looked at the place Kitsu had stood moments before and thought, or am I a demon who has been awakened by those who came into his territory? As his body shimmered slightly in a less normal-looking Naruto sat there with scar covering most of his chest as he closed his eyes as memories of pain shot through him before he shook his head and his body shimmered again and he looked normal. When Naruto and Kitsu were ready both walked out of the apartment and began to walk toward the stairs when Naruto stopped as did Kitsu outside of door 316 because the sound of crying came from the other side of the door. Naruto looked at the door for several minutes as Kitsu looked at him and she finally said, Kit, in a questioning tone. Naruto turned and said, let's go. As he started to walk away. Kitsu looked at him and then at the door one more time before she began to follow Naruto. Naruto bit his lip and thought, no, she is my enemy. I must get rid of her. I who was leaning against the door in the empty apartment was crying with her knees to her chest when she heard, Kit. And moments later, let's go. And she recognized the voices of Naruto and Kitsu and she took her hands and wiped her face quickly before going to the bathroom. When Naruto got to the academy with Kitsu he saw the Sandame standing there and he said, you're a bit earlier than I expected Naruto. We just have to wait on and I'll take you 3 in to get registered. A few minutes later I came running up and Naruto thought, her cloths are wet. Are those her only clothes? And she said, sorry Hokage-sama if I am late. The Sandame said, you right on time. But why are your clothes wet? I said, it's from where I took too long in the shower. The steam soaked into my clothes. They will be fine in a little while. The Sandame said, very well. Come. As he began to lead the 3 into the academy. A few minutes after stopping by the office to get registered the Sandame took them to room 301 and knocked on the door. The door opened and a black-haired man with a scar on his nose stood there at the door and said, "Oh, hello Hokage-sama, can I help you?" The Sandame walked in followed by the three teens and he said, "Yes Iruka, I have three new students who have recently come to Konoha who have decided to join us. Even though they are all a year older than the rest of your class and skilled, I feel that allowing them a chance to get to know those in your class would help them learn about our village as well as the clans of Konoha. Both Kitsu here and I have bloodlines." Naruto said, "All three of us do Sarutobi." Iruka said, "Show Hokage-sama pro." The Sandame placed his hand on Iruka's shoulder and said, "Naruto is a special case Iruka. He can call me anything he wants as he has no respect for me due to a crime I committed against him along with other ninja who are under my command. Naruto will not show respect to anyone unless they earned it in his eyes. If he decides to tell you about himself, then you will understand why. Naruto, please restrict your skills and do not put any of my ninja in the hospital or graveyard." Mizuki said, "You're joking, right Hokage-sama?" The Sandame looked at Mizuki and said, "No, Naruto here killed a missing ninja of Konoha in less than 3 seconds. He took out an entire squad of Anbu as well as put both Ibiki and myself in kill shots all in less than 3 seconds. Truth is, I believe Naruto is good enough to be a special Junin, but to the fact he has been in a different country outside of the elemental nations most of his life and has only been here for a month and is learning our language and customs, I felt placing him here at the academy with those around his age group would help him as well as giving him time to learn about our land. Also giving us a chance to evaluate his skills and his servant properly. Those are the only reasons he is here." Everyone was shocked and I said, "Servant. I thought slavery was illegal in Fire Country Hokage-sama." Kitsu said, "It is not slavery. I owe Naruto-kun a life debt, and while I may be the last of my clan, I still follow the rules of my clan and my life is owed to him for saving my life. Until the day he dies I am his, at which point I am honored bound to kill myself unless he has a duty he wishes me to complete after his death. Once that is done I am honored bound to die so that I can serve him in the afterlife. And in case some of you think of trying to save my life to get me as your servant, it won't work as I am the already bound and nothing will change that." I frowned and Iruka said, "Very well, why don't you introduce yourselves to the class and we can get class started." I waited a moment and saw both Naruto and Kitsu looking at her and she sighed and said, "My name is Ai Tenshi and I came to Konoha to learn to become a medic nin so that I can someday return to my home village to be a doctor since our last doctor died in a mudslide. My village has no name as we are under the control of one of the temples of Kami who are neutral to all nations." As she stepped back showing she was done, Kitsu stepped forward and said, "My name is Kitsu Henge of the Henge clan of Water Country. The land of water has a civil war going on where anyone with a bloodline is thought to be the source of wars and are hunted down and killed. As far as I know I am the last of my clan and that was how Naruto and I met as he saved my life from those who were attacking me because of who I am." As she stepped back, Naruto sighed and looked at Sarutobi a moment and said, "Graduation, right?" Sarutobi said, "As per our agreement." Naruto closed his eyes and when he opened them they were black and the next moment the entire room shimmered, startling everyone as they saw they were on the streets of Konoha with Kitsu in her fox form on Naruto's shoulder and I standing beside him, and Naruto turned and said, "I heard you all right. But I don't take orders from Kami or you Angel. Ever hear of something called free will? If not, then you need to get your head out of the clouds sometimes." As he turned and started to walk away again when an Anbu team appeared. One in a dog mask said, "Excuse me, are you Naruto?" Naruto said, "No, I'm Santa Claus, can't you tell my belly, red outfit, and snow white beard? This is Rudolph and his red nose." As he pointed to Kitsu who was on his shoulder. A Anbu in a dragon mask said, "Answer the question or you will be detained." Naruto said, "That would be the third worst mistake you could make." Inu said, "Look, we don't want any trouble. Since you match the description of Naruto I will inform you that the Sandame would like to have a few words with you." Naruto said, "That's nice. I'll be sure to get with him first thing the next time I'm in town." As he began to walk toward the gate. Inu said, "I'm afraid that you can't leave. Naruto glanced at Ai a moment and then Ai leaned forward and angel wings shot out of her back and she flew into the air away from Konoha, shocking everyone on the street, and Naruto said, "Whoa, she really is an airhead. Her family must be conceited as hell to call their family name Tenchi, so you won't let me leave without seeing your village leader. Fine, let's get this over with." Inu walked over and placed his hand on Naruto's shoulder opposite of Kitsu and Shushin both to the Hokage office, and the Sandaime said, "Ah Naruto, thank you for coming again, and I wish to say I'm sorry for starting things on the wrong foot earlier." Inu, you may leave us and continue your duties. Inu said, "Before I go, Hokage-sama, I think you should know that girl who was here earlier just sprouted wings from her back and flew away from the village when we were asking Naruto to come with us." Sarutobi frowned and said, "Very well, inform all Anbu if she returns to detain her and bring her to me for questioning." Inu nods and Shushins away, and Naruto said, "So what are you holding me prisoner here for? Your ninja wouldn't let me leave and I don't feel like kicking more of their ass today, especially in front of civilians who will instantly think I am the bad guy when I'm the victim here. I swear, this is the last time I save one of your ninja life, you ungrateful bastard," as he glared at Sarutobi. Sarutobi sighed and said, "I am sorry the way things have happened, and it is not my intentions to cause trouble, and I am very thankful for your help in saving Ibiki life. So grateful that I have some information that I believe will interest you. I have information about your birth parents." Naruto blinked and reached up and rubbed Kitsu's neck and said, "Really? And how can you be sure that these so-called birth parents you claim are really mine? Were you there the day I was born?" Sarutobi said, "Yes, I was." Naruto said, I see. I take it you used the blood from where I scraped my hand against the Anbu mask when I kicked their ass earlier and used it against my parents on some kind of seal which unsealed something. Right. Sarutobi said, "Yes." Naruto said, "And the items that was unsealed. Does it belong to me or does it belong to the village?" Sarutobi said, "I'm afraid it was your father's journal of secret information that is important to Konoha." Your father was. Naruto said, "Enough, I have only one question, is there anything that my birth parents left that I can have? I mean money, jutsu, property, anything of value I can use or sell that you can give me right now, yes or no?" Sarutobi said, "Since Kono." Naruto said, "Yes or no, is it the yes part that confuses you or the no part?" Sarutobi frowned and said, "No." Naruto said, "Then do I have any other family, siblings, aunts, uncles? Anyone?" Sarutobi said, "No." Naruto said, "Then we have nothing to talk about. Now I am leaving." As he turned and started toward the door. Sarutobi said, "Wait, don't you want to know about your parents?" Naruto looked at Sarutobi and his eyes turned black and the world shimmered and showed a field and showed a red-hair woman with chains shooting out of her body holding the Kyuubi and the Yondaime with the ghostly figure of the Shinigami behind him, and the woman said, "Don't be a picky eater, and I'm sorry but you're going to face hard and painful times ahead, son. You." Sarutobi, who was outside of a barrier, said, "Minato, Kushina, stop. There has to be another way than sealing the Kyuubi into your son." Minato looked over at him and said, "Naruto has to be sacrificed to save the village, Sarutobi. I never wanted this burden passed on to my son and I wanted to be there for him. But protecting the village comes first." Kakashi said, "Sensei, at least drop the barrier so we can help you and get your son to safety. It will give you more chakra to finish the sealing." Minato said, "Very well, release," as he put his hands together. The barrier around them dropped and a figure who was in the trees screamed, "Fools!" catching everyone's attention as a pair of kunais sailed through the air and went into the heads of Minato and Kushina before exploding. The baby blanket with Naruto on it began to smoke from a small ember while the man in the mask looked at Kyuubi and said, "Kyuubi, hear me and follow my commands. I command you to continue your attack on." A scream drew everyone's attention as the blanket caught on fire and it was baby Naruto screaming, and both Sarutobi and Jiraiya looked at Naruto and Sarutobi said, "We must prepare the village, there's nothing we can do for him," as both shushined away. Everything shimmered in the room again and found Sarutobi and Naruto in the Hokage office, and Naruto said, you and the other man abandoned me to be consumed by flames at the feet of the Kyuubi and at the hands of the man you watched murder my birth parents. You are one of 5 people I hate. Until you admitted that you were there the day I was born, I did not know it was you for sure, since you have aged greatly since that day. I knew you looked a lot like the person from my memory, but I wasn't for sure until that moment. Sarutobi frowned and said, Naruto, you have too. Naruto said, shut the fuck up. As he unleashed a little ki. Naruto said, do you know who the other 4 people I hate are? I hate the man who left with you, whoever he was, for abandoning me. I hate Minato and Kushina also. Sarutobi said, you hate your parents. Why? In a shocked voice. Naruto said, Jinchuriki, the power of a human sacrifice. That was what the sealing that they were performing. They were going to seal the Kyuubi into me. I looked up what that ritual was and I found out Jinchuriki are used as weapons. You take a newborn child and you seal a demon inside the child so the child would take the chakra from the demon and could use it for the good of the village. Those are the lucky bastards. Me, if they would have succeeded in sealing Kyuubi in me. I also read about what happened to Jinchuriki, who were created to save their village. They were treated as demons themselves by the people they were used to save. I hate Minato and Kushina because they were willing to sacrifice me to a life of pain, loneliness, and suffering, and for what? Because they love me. I call bullshit. If a parent loves their child, they would protect the child when faced with what they were facing. They could have took me and got the fuck out of the area like any parent who loved their child, but did they? No. They purposely sought out and captured Kyuubi to seal it in me so they could curse me to a life of pain and suffering, so they could go and lick Kami pussy and fuck her for blessing them for doing the noble thing and causing their child to suffer a lifetime of pain and suffering. Sarutobi frowned and said, they did what they had to in order to protect the village. Naruto said, and that brings me to the 5th person I hate. Kami herself. Everyone preaches about the good of the many outweigh the good of the few. You abandoned me to be burned alive for the good of the many. My parents planned to curse me by sealing a demon in me to live a life of pain and suffering for the good of the many. My true mother was taken from me by Kami because of the good of the many. But I call bullshit. You're a fucking ninja, as was Minato and Kushina. They don't have honor and neither do you. You get paid by your client to murder, steal, and hurt whoever it is that pissed off your client, and your kunoichi are paid prostitutes. The Fire Lord wants to build a new hot spring for himself in a village, but the place where he wants it built has the only grocery store in the village, and he refuses to sell his land that has been in his family for generations. The Fire Lord pays you to kill that man and you send your ninja to do it so the Fire Lord could have his hot spring while the town suffers from the loss of the store as well as the loss of their friend or family. Where is the good of the many there, huh? You say that so you don't have to feel bad at night for the things you do. Sarutobi frowned and Naruto said, well, face this. And he ripped his shirt off and put his hands together and said, release. As the air around Naruto shimmered and the Sandaime gasped as he saw the scars on Naruto's body, and Naruto said, this is the result of you abandoning me. After you left and the man in the mask left while I suffered from my wounds, a woman who witnessed what had happened came to me and she tried to heal me using her own flesh she cut and peeled from her body and her own blood to help replace what I lost, while also using her chakra to heal me before she took me with her and raised me as her son until Kami took her from me. Sarutobi looked down and said, I am sorry, Naruto. Naruto was silent for several moments and said, are you truly sorry? Sarutobi said, yes. Naruto said, then how about a deal? The room shimmered again and everyone found themselves in the classroom, and several kids got up and ran either to the window, the trash can, or out of the class and began to puke. Iruka and Mizuki didn't look much better, and I looked at Naruto with tears and he saw this and said, don't give me those fucking tears, Angel, you're the 6th person I hate and you know why. Is that all, Iruka? I don't think your class if feeling well. Iruka gulped and said, yes. Class is dismissed for the day. Naruto nods and fell into his shadow, and Kitsu quickly ran out of the room. After they were gone, Iruka said, sir, what? The Sandaime said, just accept him as a student and treat him as any other student, but don't expect respect. That is all I can say, but do not attempt to pass him early, Iruka. He has to stay and graduate with this class. That's all I can say. Mizuki said, what about Kyuubi, sir? I mean, with what we just saw, the story about Kyuubi defeat and death can't be true if that was real. The Sandame said, it was real. I don't know what happened to Kyuubi. I must return to my duties. As he shushined away. Iruka frowned and thought, what was the deal you made and why are you so off, sir? It was several hours later when Shikamaru and Choji were walking up a small hill and Shikamaru said, troublesome. What are you doing here? Naruto frowned and said, I was enjoying the clouds until you showed up. I thought for sure I could get some privacy here. Shikamaru said, troublesome. As he sat down and fell back looking at the sky and said, Shikamaru Nara, and this is my best friend Choki Akamaiki. Naruto said, Naruto, just Naruto. You both were in that class, weren't you? Choji said, yeah, Chip. Naruto glanced at him and then at the chip and Choji said, what? You don't like ranch? I got barbecue also. As he took a bite of one and pulled out another bag of chips. Naruto said, sorry, I've had prisoners try and poison me or bribe me all the time back home, so I learned to be cautious around accepting things. Shikamaru said, prisoners? Why did you hang around with prisoners? Naruto was quite a moment and said, my grandmother ran a prison and my mom brought in new prisoners. I was basically head of security there. It's one of the reasons I'm such a hard ass. Shikamaru said, besides your beef with the Sandame and that girl. Naruto said, well, there that also, so why aren't you both freaked out? Shikamaru grunted and Choji said, my family owns a restaurant and I have had to help prepare the animals for cooking, and Shikamaru family are deer herders, so he has had to kill them, so you could say we both are immune to things like that. Do they hurt? I mean the scar tissue. Our families are also into medicines as well. Naruto was quite a moment and said, no. All the pain receptors in my body have been destroyed and all the pain neurons in my brain were fried. Choji said, I bet that's a handy in a fight. Naruto frowned and said, no. It makes it more dangerous for me. I can feel contact but no pain, so I could punch my hand through a glass window and know I made contact and not feel the pain, but have my hand cut up really bad from it, which could cost me the use of my hands or bleed to death. I have to constantly be on alert to what my body comes in contact with to make sure I don't overdo it. Before a smirk appeared on his face and said, but back home in the pit of endurance it was one hell of an advantage. Choji asked, what's the pit of endurance? Naruto said, well, I told you how I was head of security at the prison. The pit of endurance was a 100-level basic street brawl. All the real violent prisoners, the ones who were charged with murder or preying on the weak. To help keep them from in control by never letting them completely recover, we forced all of them into this pit and they would fight against each other to try and make it past the 100th level. Only one prisoner was allowed to get past that 100th level, and whoever did got an hour of semi-freedom. They would be allowed to have a date from the other prisoners, either a man or a woman depending on their sexual preference, who share a dinner until both were stuffed. They would get to enjoy a hot spring for an hour together alone and then a special room with soundproofing so they could be alone all night, but the next morning at 6 a.m. they would be released back into general population, and at 9 a.m. all the violent criminals would be released back into the pit again. Shikamaru, whose eyes had gone darting back and forward, sat up and said, and you were in this pit? Naruto smirked and said, damn good steak. I was the only guard who would go into the pit and fight hand to hand with them. No chakra, no weapons, and no armor. It showed them I wasn't some 2-bit punk they could beat on. I wasn't the one locked in with them, they were the ones locked in it with me. Then after I won I offered my free dinner companion for information. Whoever was willing to rat out about contraband or escape attempts or things like that, and the info had to be real and proven, I would allow to share the meal and let them have the hot spring and room to themselves after they told me everything they knew. Choji said, and you always won. Naruto said, no. There were a few who avoided the fighting or picked which fights to fight so they could quickly advance to the higher levels. It was as much a race as it was a test of battle skills. Of course, after the prisoners saw who did it, they would set traps to gang up on them the next day, making it harder for that person to win again. And friends become allies today and enemies who stab you in the back tomorrow, and it helped to make it where they wouldn't work together since they couldn't trust the other prisoners. I kept trying to get Grandma to let me change the rules to where the last man standing also gets a prize, but she wouldn't let me. Said I had to be fair. It was supposed to be hell for them. Why should I be fair? As fake tears rolled down his face, causing Shikamaru and Choji to sweat drop. Both boys thought, he's crazier than Ino, Sakura, and Sasuke put together. Once Naruto calmed down, Shikamaru shook his head and Naruto said, "Go ahead. I know you want to." Choji asked, "Want to what?" Naruto said, "Ask what's my beef with the angel and what my deal with Sarutobi is that would make stay." Shikamaru asked, "And the answer to those questions are?" Naruto said, "Ever wonder what really happened to Kyuubi?" Causing both boys to set up and look at Naruto, who was on his back looking at the clouds. Shikamaru said, "Yes." Naruto said, "To know that answer you need to know the truth about Kami and Yami." Kami and Yami both, when they were given the world of mortals, couldn't agree on what to do with it and the mortals living here. Our world is only one of many that has mortals on it. Anyways, I won't bore you with any more on that and get on with the story. Kami and Yami both were debating about what to do with the world one day when they saw a man who looked very weak from hunger, who lived on an island filled with a lot of other people who were also hungry because a hurricane came through and destroyed their island and their crops. Kami was about to go before the man and tell him to share the fish with everyone on the island because she believed the needs of the many outweighed the needs of the few. Yami saw the man and said that he should feed himself since he worked hard for it and he need the food. They fought like sisters do until they made a bet. They would let the man decide himself without their direct involvement. Kami said if the man gave the fish to others, she would create a place to reward him where he would never have to suffer again. Choji asked, "What does this have to do with anything and how do you know this?" Naruto looked at Choji and said, "Patience, my big bone friend, and all will be revealed." In that moment, Naruto earned the respect of both Shikamaru and Choji as he continued, "Anyways, they waited and the man did offer to share the fish with others. But the other people who saw the fish and saw there wasn't enough for everyone attacked the man and killed him. Yami saw this and she became angry and decided to punish those people who killed the man by being selfish. That was how what we know as heaven and hell was created." Both sisters were outraged over the man's death as both felt that neither option the man had before him required his death. But it was in that moment when both sisters agreed that they made the bet that would change the future of our world. No direct influence over mortals. Kami would reward those who were truly selfless, the reward of heaven, while Yami would punish those who were truly selfish with hell. But the problem was that neither sister could actually touch the mortal world by their own agreement, so they sent those who followed primarily their daughters. Kami daughter as Gabriel and Yami daughter as Shinigami. Choji said, "Shinigami a woman?" Naruto smiled softly and said, "Yeah. She wears that mask to put the fear in souls who were evil to stop them from thinking she's weak and can attack her when she comes for their souls. She's actually very beautiful under that mask." Shikamaru said, "Your mother? The woman who took care of you and saved you, she's the Shinigami, isn't she?" Naruto said, "Yeep. Took you 3 seconds longer than I thought it would." Choji looked back and forward and said, "Wait, what are you talking about?" Shikamaru said, "Think about everything you saw and heard. He was left at the feet of the Kyuubi and the man who was controlling Kyuubi. Everyone in their right mind would have been running away from the Kyuubi, not standing there and watching everything that was happening. The only person who could have stood there was someone who doesn't have a fear of Kyuubi, which was the Shinigami. The way he talks about the prison and how he knows about the creation of hell and heaven, as well as the girl with wings, she's an angel sent by Kami to watch him. Kitsu, she's the Kyuubi, isn't she?" Naruto said, "Yeep." Still sitting back with his arms behind his head. Shikamaru frowned and said, "Troublesome. Why? Why did you tell us this?" Naruto looked at him and said, "I lived in hell since the moment Shinigami saved me. I was happy there with my mother, grandmother Yami, and my friends. But then Yami came because she had this big plan for me since before I was ever born. She had this plan where I was supposed to be this huge savior for the world and would decide the fate of the Biju. The man in the mask. His name is Madara Uchiha. He's got some plan I don't know about, beside it involves turning the Biju into his ultimate weapon. Either I will stop him and save the world, or die and he will destroy the world. That was Kami's goal for me. She came into hell after finding out I wasn't in the mortal world or heaven and demanded I come back. Mother and Yami refused, and Kami attacked my mother and sent her to limbo, forcing Grandma Yami to send me to this world before she would release Mother. She also said she was sending one of her angels to make sure Mom didn't come and take me back to hell. Shikamaru said, which is why you are so hostile toward I. Naruto said, yeah, Kami acts like I am her puppet to jump through her hoops. She's wrong, all life has the choice of free will. I can walk Kami path, or create my own, which I am doing. I'll eventually get to Madara and take care of the Biju. But I will do it my way. Shikamaru said, you still haven't told us why you are telling us this. Naruto frowned and said, because I can't let Kami win the bet her and Yami made. Kami believes that when Madara begins his plan, mortals will begin to sacrifice everything for their friends and family, thus gaining her a lot of souls, which she needs to win the bet. Choji asked, what is the bet exactly? Naruto said, mortality. All I do know is that it involves a soul. The soul of the fisherman. One who should have been blessed and one who should have been avenged, and yet neither was done. Both Yami and Kami are waiting on his soul to be reborn. Both sisters then will display to him what both have done in his honor. Kami showing all she has blessed for being noble and honor like he was, and Yami will show all she has punished like the people who attacked and killed the man should have been. He will then choose which sister he believes should rule the world. Shikamaru said, you still haven't said why you are telling us this. Naruto said, as part of my free will I decided to take souls that would go to Kami when they die away by making them just a little less noble and honorable so they will be reborn. I've already done that to 60 souls currently. Tomorrow when you go to the academy, some of your classmates will most likely drop out, seeing being a Ninja isn't so honorable or fantasy like they heard stories about. I've also freed a woman from a curse she had placed on her, which caused her to follow the rules of others and suffer because of her following the orders of her sensei when she was a genin, and I told her she should enjoy life because it is too short to live now that she's free of the curse, so she doesn't have to constantly be tortured as she was. Choji took out another bag of chips and said, I also saw another person in the village I plan to help free from a burden. In fact, right now a bunch of me is talking with her. For years she has sacrificed her time, her life, her friends, her love, her respect, her dignity, and so much more. That woman is your mother Yoshina. Choji dropped the bag and Shikamaru stood up glaring and said, what did you do to my mom? Naruto said, just talk. Tell me, what do you see when you look at your mom? Shikamaru said, my mother. Naruto smiled and said, yeah, I should have seen that answer coming. Children always look at our parents in tinted glasses. Your mom life revolves around being a housewife. She cooks meals that are usually ate by herself, she cleans the house up after you and your father, she does your cloths, she shops for your food and weapons, she sacrifices her life so she can sit at home alone waiting on you to come in and tell her she's troublesome, and for your dad to come home either drunk or frustrated about the council, and then she gets the food she put in the oven for him and takes his cloths and washes them. She does everything for you and your dad. But when was the last time she actually got a true thank you? A true I love you. Your parents sleep in separate beds. She sleeps alone and lives in a house alone, and she is always alone. She doesn't have friends, she doesn't go shopping for herself unless she absolutely has to. She never has a chance to cry on a shoulder or tell her problems or worries to. She sacrifices her life for you and your father and will be blessed by Kami for it. But why should she go to heaven and be alone when the husband and son she sacrificed her mortal life for are either going to be reborn or go to hell, depending on what kind of life you lived? Mikage Bunshin had a talk with her, reminding her of who she used to be, what life was like to have friends, to go shopping or to the hot springs to relax, to have her hair done, to buy her a dress just because she thought it was nice, not because she needed it. To go to a bar and have a drink or go to a tea house and chat with other women about life. Not sit at home and be the perfect housewife or the troublesome mother. I'm a Kujbunshin also. I found out this is where you came to Cloud Watch so I could talk to you. You have a chance to change things. You have free will. Do what you think you should. As he went up in smoke. Shikamaru frowned as his eyes darted back and forward and Choji said questionably, Shikamaru. Shikamaru said, troublesome. I don't know if I should kill him, or thank him. A female voice said, do both. Causing both boys to turn and saw Kitsu standing there and they paled. Kitsu said, relax. I'm not as evil as you think I am. Shikamaru said, and why should I believe you? Kitsu sighed and said, the Biju. We were sent here by Yami to tempt mortals with power. Our power. Mortals would want our power as a weapon but they couldn't handle our power unless we were placed in them while they were children. The children would then be influenced by those around them. Those who wanted our power would have their souls sent to hell while those who had us sealed in them would be sent to heaven when they died since they suffered so much. While mortals would absorb some of our power while we were sealed in them, we would absorb their sins. The sins those who were around us influenced. Did you know I was actually sealed here in Konoha since the village was founded? I was first sealed in Mito Uzumaki Senju, wife of the Shadaime Hokage. I was used by Madara to attack Hashirama and she sealed me inside herself to save him, which is how he became the Shadaime Hokage. Later I was sealed in Kushina Uzumaki, Naruto birth mother until the day Madara returned and used his Sharingan on me. When a Biju is released on the death of the Jinchuriki unless we are immediately resealed we turn on those who caused our Jinchuriki the pain and suffering they had. Every village that a Biju attack had it coming for their original sins. Thus someone would see our power and crave it, and the cycle would repeat until Kami champion would come and decide our fate. But because of free will Kami had no way of controlling the future as she planned. There's an old saying, the best laid plans of men and gods. Choji said, why are you here now? Kitsu said, because Kami wanted me sent back with Naruto. She wanted me sealed inside of him so he would live in pain and suffering. Not going to happen. Shinigami made me his godmother because I was inside his mom when he was conceived. Those whiskers on him show some part of me as a part of him. I'm here now to watch him and help him and make sure he doesn't die, and if he is killed, well, the person who killed him better pray they go to heaven. If that person goes to hell, well, you get the idea. Both boys paled and Kitsu said, anyways, you want to know what Sarutobi offered? His soul. His soul for Konoha. Naruto gives Konoha a chance to earn his respect, and if it doesn't then Sarutobi's soul will go to hell when he dies. If it does then Naruto will have Yami request his soul be sent to heaven. Shikamaru said, I see, what are your plans? Kitsu said, depends, either of you got plans for the night? I'm a horny teenage girl who wants to make a sandwich with me in the middle stuffed full of meat. Both boys blew backwards with a nosebleed and Kitsu smirked and said, I'll get them when they're older, as she turned and left. On top of the Hokage monument Naruto sighed as he got the memories from both his clones and thought, I like the sky, too bad Kami a gray cloud ruining it. Across town I thought, where is he? I want to talk.